My second upload this morning or this afternoon is about recovery and how my recovery began, which I've already shared about already in previous uploads back in 2006. This upload's going to be pretty short and brief, but nothing in comparison to the recovery I had, sobriety, insanity, and all that fellowship work. That was 2006, and now it's 2020, so that's it's quite a long time ago. And the main message that I'm going to put across to people from the fellowship that have respect for each individual's unique recovery and spiritual path in the fellowship is very straightforward. Um, Keeping it simple and live and let live. And when I began my recovery in 2006, the fellowship taught me many and much that I hadn't learned or known from life, from university, from any experiences except from the fellowship. But the fellowship wasn't my only tool in recovery. As I've said before, there was a lot of personal development work, a lot of addiction studies, and a lot of literature, a lot of learning, a lot of practice, a lot of testing. And I'd say since I started my work in 2006, I'd say I've easily gone through about 120 books about recovery. And this morning I'm here and I'm in the circumstances that I'm sharing my uploads about. And it's quite pitiful, but I'm not in the self-pity pot, and I'm not feeling sorry for myself, but I am aggrieved because there's people in this community that have, as I've said, intruded upon a spiritual purpose, and they've damaged spiritual light, and I'm aggrieved, and I'm going to share that publicly with members of the fellowship that are aware of the campaign that was perpetrated against me, and that are fully aware of the violations that were perpetrated also. So in 2006, when my recovery began, um, there was a lot of fantastic experiences. Um, no rock bottoms, one or two little relapses, but today in 2020, over 10 years on from when I began, um, I'm aggrieved and I'm resentful towards the individuals that have done this to my purpose and that have damaged my spiritual light body and have damaged my role as a mother and that have damaged my career and my reputation. Um, I acquired pretty amazing gifts along my way, and those gifts have been disrespected. Um, there have been publicity stunts and PR work, and as I've said, fake news and these creative projects and whatnot, and financial exploitation from what was a spiritual attainment, and that was my personal spiritual attainment, and that was violated, and people discussed a spiritual purpose that they had no knowledge of or no awareness of, and that was highly disrespectful to those culprits that imposed upon my purpose. And as I'm also aware, there are individuals that have done worse than just exploit and damage a spiritual purpose and exploit spiritual gifts and blessings for financial gains. But just so you know, there is no concept of the damage that has been done to my purpose as a mother, as a spiritual light being, as as a woman, basically, and the disrespect that has been shown is appalling, not only for the individuals that are responsible, but also for the women involved. And that's unfortunate to have to say that, but I'd appreciate the same honesty if I was feeling aggrieved about a matter, or if another person was feeling aggrieved about a matter. But as regards recovery, it's disappointing to be here 10 years on and to realise that people have damaged a wonderful fellowship and the principles and traditions of a wonderful fellowship, and that couldn't keep their own side of the street clean, as they say, and couldn't live and let live. And people, as I've said, trying to gain acclaim for work they haven't done, that have tried to override and undermine the very source of the gifts and blessings that they damaged from me, um, is 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 very serious, very concerning, very worrying for any spiritual light worker, and just so it clarifies my message to those people that exploited and that used their wealth and their PR and their fake news. Um, I hope that the honest, authentic members of the fellowship and that are genuinely intent about sobriety understand what it's like to be what they consider easy prey to such individuals that tend to kind of gate crash onto another person's spiritual journey. So that's happened also, and that this is just a message for the fellowship. And the other aspect to all of this is not just the undermining of another person's purpose. And it wasn't just all fellowship, it wasn't just all sobriety. It was about peace campaigning, it was about peace work, you know. And as a victim, it's very difficult for a person to find peace because there's a lot of anger and resentments after any assault of a character, of a physical body, of reputation. People are angry when they're assaulted, and to be able to find peace after any assault isn't easy. But unfortunately, this community wasn't able to find peace from what has happened in the past. And unfortunately, there's been yet again another controversy of an assault of my character again, which is a little bit more serious with regard to the violations of human rights. So it's a bit egotistical and narcissistic what has happened, that people have contrived a deceptive message of falsehoods as regards the source of beautiful gifts, light worker gifts, and that have disrespected femininity and feminine spirituality and the role of females in society as mothers. So those vindictive individuals, not mature enough to be able to respect the autonomous nature of each independent adult woman, um, commiserations, because there's been a lot damaged in the past 2 years that there wasn't a single individual with any position or authority to be damaging. So there's no kudos for what's been done, and there'll be no good gains for the light and gifts and blessings that have been damaged and exploited. And for those individuals that think they're being smart and being unprofessional and unethical, violating human rights and perpetrating hate crime, commiserations, I feel sorry for you. But for the members out there that are aware of this vendetta and campaign, um, I'll openly and honestly be able to say that there is resentment and aggrievement about what's been done, and it's absolutely horrendous that an honest person's work would be disrespected, and just it's a sad sign of the times. So those individuals, um, step 11, conscious contact with your higher power. Check your conscience for the damage that you've been involved in, and as they say, leave your egos at the door when you go to a meeting. And as for the narcissistic tendencies, there's nothing wrong with loving yourself once you don't have to damage other people's lives. And there's been two in particular that have been damaged, and a few others unjustifiably. So what's happened in Tralee, County Kerry isn't evolutionary, it's not progressive, it's not spiritual. Um, Bad foundations, basically, as I say, for any future progress. So that's just a little message for the fellowship members. Um, I hope everyone in recovery is able to mind their own business and, respect each individual's journey and path and spirituality. And as they say, live and let live. And hopefully, there won't be members of the recovery fellowship or sobriety or whatever type of sobriety you're intent on to, you know, be predators on other people's journeys, because that's what has happened in this particular instance. And it's a sad sign at the times.